Hello. This is the second lesson in the fourth fetter. And before we start, I would like to make sure that you have watched the fourth lesson in the second fetter. It's the one about the bubble of reality. I want to make sure that you have watched it or maybe even rewatched it, that you have worked with what that is about before we start on this lesson, because otherwise this lesson won't be helpful in any way. What it is talking about is that everything you perceive outside of you is just a reflection of yourself. It's just a reflection of your underlying beliefs, of a reflection of the traumas that you have. And when you watch it, it's making it very, very clear that there is nothing outside. It is only ever what is perceived on the inside. And that needs to be practiced. That needs to be something that you have practiced and you have lived with and you have done inquiries about, and you're already beginning to shake that foundation when you believe that you actually can have something you want, or something you crave for, or that people can be, against you or aggressive or hurting you in any way. So if you haven't watched it, or if it's been a while and you haven't really worked with it, I would really recommend you to go back and do that before you listen to this lesson. This lesson, it's about wants, and I'm going to give you 10 pointers that are really, really important to work with when you're working with wants. But it's also pointers that you can work with when you work with don't wants. So everything in the fifth fetter. And the reason why we're drumming those two together in this lesson, it is that the antidote to ill will and desire, everything you want and everything you don't want, the antidote to both of them is contentment. And we have already talked about that there is only contentment. The only feeling you can ever have is contentment. So you're already on board with that one. Another thing is that the fourth and the fifth fetter are the last of the lower fives. And the lower five fetters are the ones that are addressing a very, crude type of identification. It's where you tend to believe that there is an I, and I am entitled to, and you shouldn't speak to me like that, and that entire type of identification, and that falls away. That falls completely away when we leave the fifth fetter. So the reason why we're really dialing up on it from now on with the lessons, it is that you need to be looking at these things before you move on to the higher five. So this lesson is very much about putting yourself in a space where what I'm talking about and what I'm pointing at is about that there is nothing outside. We have what we call the foundational understanding for the lower fives. And it's like 3 pointers that is pointing you to the direction where you might have an underlying belief that needs to be looked at, or there's an area that you might need to do inquiry about. And the first one is that there's nothing outside. There's nothing outside. You have the meat suit and you have all the biochemical responses happening. You have all the experiences in your life in what I call the backpack. And everything you experience that is happening outside of you, it's just a reflection of that. You cannot have an expectation to something if you haven't experienced it. You cannot have a craving for a fruit you don't know about. You cannot wish for anything that you haven't tried or not tried. So it needs to be within your experience for you to have any kind of knowledge about you wanting it or don't wanting it. So that bubble of reality, it's like, I see it a bit like we have this bubble around us and there's mirrors on the inside. And everything you hear other people say, it's your ears that you're hearing through, which means that you're not really hearing what they're saying. You hear what you think they're saying. And what you think that what they're saying, you are then creating a label about, a thought about, so you're creating a label about it, and then you will start to react or respond to the label that you created. You can never really be in conversation with anyone. It's only an exchange of what you believe is truth, of what you believe they are saying, and they're responding to what they think you are saying. It also means that whatever people say about you, it's never about you. It can't be. It can only ever be about their perception. And if anybody says something and it affects you, then instead of pointing your fingers at them, Janice, and wanting them to change or apologize or say something or make it better, might be your entire childhood that's been like that. Instead of you pointing at that, then look into what is it that you believe is happening? What is it that you believe that you need to defend yourself against? Or that you need to put your boundaries down, or put your foot down, or so whenever you're activated by what other people they say, then look into what is this really about? Because it's not about what they say. It's about what you think you hear they say. And this is something that you need to work with in the first lesson and in this lesson about wants. We're circling back to it when we talk about don't wants in the fifth fetter, because it's very much the very, very deep hooks into wanting to control what other people are doing so your life is easier. The second thing that is kind of like that you kind of need to know before we move on, it is obviously that there is not an I. There's not anyone here that is hearing anything or that can react with anything. There is no I. And that is obviously the first fetter. We can still have like an underlying contraction in the body that we perceive as an I, that we defend as an I. And again, this is the fetter, and the next fetter is where you really, really become aware of where that contraction lies, what you believe is being said and done against you or towards you, what you believe can alleviate that contraction that you're feeling. And the last one is obviously, there are no labels that are true. There is no craving. There is no ill will. There's no guilt or shame or anger or fear. There's none of that. There's no low self-worth. There's no low self-esteem. There's none of that. All of that is labels. It's thoughts that we are adding to a contraction that we feel. It's thoughts we are adding, either using to divert with, so we can focus on that, or we are using it to keeping ourselves in a distance to that underlying belief that is very, very painful to look at. And if you recognize yourself here, then it's the second fetter that you need to go back to. There's also a lot of help in that one, in the third fetter. Remember all the 10 things that self-care for the non-self. There's also a lot in that, in looking into the motivation of doing things. That is very much tied into this part, that we believe that there is something to alleviate and there's something to fight for or to either protect or deflect from. So it's very much about realizing that there's nothing missing. What you think is missing is not missing. What you think needs to change can't change, and it shouldn't change. Reality is as it is. There's nothing that needs to be any different. The reality that we live in is exactly like it's supposed to be. There's nothing missing from it. And it's important that this is where you are now. It's important that all the things I've said so far, you have it. Yeah, I'm aware of that. I'm ready to move on. Otherwise, this is going to be way too provocative for you. And there's no point. There's no point in doing that. Make sure that all the foundation is sorted out first. Make sure that you're aware there's nothing outside. There's only a meat suit that has a sensory experiences. That is it. There's no I. It's just a meat suit having sensory experiences. We tend to believe that just because we have those sensory experiences that there is an I that is experiencing. That is not the case. And then the last one, that there are no labels. There are no labels. There is no craving. There's no aversion. There's no anger towards Janice. There's no Janice. You can't be angry at Janice for Janice being Janice. She's just like she is. Yeah. So if you hear any of those as a koan, then go back in the material. Especially start by going back to the bubble of reality, the fourth lesson in the second fetter. Go back to that. But if you know that people are people and they can say and do as they want to do, it's completely fine with you. And it's truly fine. It's not the bypassing. It's fine. Well, it's really not. It's truly fine. It's truly fine. Janice can be Janice. It's completely fine. Whatever is happening in the world, it's fine. People are doing as they're doing. And that you think they should do otherwise, it's just your opinion. It's just your opinion. I know this is super provocative, and we're going to talk more about it in the fifth fetter, because we tend to then mention all the things that we don't want in the world, like trafficking and war and famine and factory farming and all the things that we don't want in the world. And then we focus on that. And I am circling back to that. This fetter is about all the things that you want. So any opinion that you hold, any judgment that you hold, it's not truth. It's just an opinion. It's just an opinion. Other people think the exact opposite. And that true is not truth. It's also just an opinion. And whatever we believe and take as a truth, it's something that is from our own bubble of reality. It's something that we have a frame of reference about. That needs our attention if we get aggravated or provoked in any way. There's something that needs our attention. And again, I just want to emphasize, I'm not condoning. I'm pointing out what is. And I'm pointing out all the hooks you have into it not being as it is. This moment right now, it is as it is. And we can focus on all the things we want that is not part of this moment, all the things we don't want that is not part of this moment. Or we can focus on the contentment that is this moment. Everything that we want or don't want is outside of this moment. And it's super interesting for you why you choose to live your life there. It's very interesting why that is your focus. All the things that are not here right now. Instead of looking at what actually is here right now. And feeling into that contentment that is right now. So it's also why we're working so much with the inquiry, because you really inquire into that contraction that you feel in the body and are curious to what is this about? What am I perceiving this as, and what is it really about? So start to be curious. Hopefully you have already worked with it. And hopefully this is just a reminder to you about being curious about it. Be aware of that bubble of reality that we live in, and that you live in. And know that everything you think you hear other people are saying, it's not what they're saying. It's what you think you hear they're saying. And what other people are doing is not what they're doing. It's what you think that they're doing. So keep looking back at yourself whenever you're judging somebody for doing something. And also keep pointing back at yourself whenever there's something outside of what is right now that you want, that you think can make this better. This moment is here right now. Whatever you're reaching for, the moment is already gone. And when you have this idea that the moment you reach for that cupcake, it's going to be a great moment when you reach for the cupcake and you eat the cupcake. Beautiful, beautiful moment. But when you have eaten the cupcake, you're reaching for the next thing. And it's because there's something else that needs your attention. You can live your entire life without cupcakes. So there's something else that needs your attention. There's something that cupcake is pointing to. And that is what needs your attention. So every time I say to you, look into why you're reaching for the cupcake. Kevin and Christian, they have some amazing exercises where you imagine that you're standing in front of the cupcake. And then you feel that pull towards reaching out. And then feeling into what is it that I'm projecting is here right now. Well, that will be alleviated, not be there anymore if I eat that cupcake. What is it in me that I'm trying to avoid being aware of by reaching out and eating that? And the thing is, the moment you have eaten it, half an hour passes, then you want another one. So it's so fleeting. It's so fleeting, the cravings. And because what was really needed wasn't addressed, you're just going to reach out for another cupcake. And what we're saying is that craving that you have, it's not real. It's not real. If you really, really pick it apart, then you are standing and you're looking at the cupcake and you feel in your body that there's something out there, and there's almost like, a reaching out for it. Instead of reaching out, feel that pull that you have towards it, towards that reaching out and grasping. Feel that pull, and then really, really be curious to what is happening. What is happening? Just by seeing it, you start to produce saliva in your mouth just by seeing it. So you can imagine how it is to eat it, and you can imagine how it's going to influence you. Look into that. Feel into that. How is it to be in a body where that craving is? Do you feel how distant you are from the moment? Do you feel that you are way, way past into the future? You're way, way past into how it is to eat it and chew it and swallow it. You're way away from this moment. And this is where your life is lived. And if you really stay with it, you can feel that pull towards the cupcake. You can feel that pull. Between the sensations of that pull of what you really, really want, between the sensations, there is a stillness between the sensations. That is that stillness, simplicity, and contentment I keep talking about. And if you can stay in the moment and you notice that contraction that you have towards something, you can also notice the stillness between the contraction. And then bring your awareness into that stillness between the contraction. That is where you are in the contentment. That is where there is not the contraction. So I'm not talking about bypassing. I'm not talking about, I feel the pull towards the cupcake. I am not interested in the cupcake. I'm pulling myself together. I'm not eating the cupcake. That is just another contraction. That is another contraction. I would like for you to slow down, and allow that want to grow, that craving you have, allow it to grow. And then see in you, where is the connection between the cupcake and the contraction? And if you really, really look at it, you will see there is no connection. There is no connection. Obviously, if you have any kind of addictive tendency, if you're an alcoholic or you're overeating or bulimic or anything like that, this is the time. When you're working with this, it's now. You're reaching out and being in contact with your sponsor or your therapist or who you know you can work with when you're working with this, because it can be very, very, very potent and very, very provocative. It is eventually what is ending the craving. You're completely clear. Very, very clearly you're going to see that there is no craving, there is no addiction, there's nothing outside that can do anything inside. And everything is an inside job. Everything is within the bubble of reality that you're in. There's nothing outside. Even when you look at the cupcake is not outside. If you're not reaching out for it, the cupcake is not outside. It is a visual image that your brain is seeing. And then it is pairing with previous cupcakes you have had, telling you how delicious this one is because the previous one was really, really delicious, and that you're projecting into the cupcake you see here. So you're not even talking about that one. So how you use it is that I'm gonna give you a pointer. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna give you a statement, and you can either use it with where you're sitting with your eyes open, or you can do it in meditation. And what you do is you hear the pointer, and then you feel into the body. Where do you feel the pointer? What is happening? Where is that contraction? Are you getting slightly nauseated? Are you having lots and lots of thoughts about are you feeling attacked with the fear, anger, guilt, and shame, with the starting point that you have? Are you feeling in any way attacked? What is the underlying belief that is present? And you just keep staying with the experience that you have in your direct experience right now. You know that nothing has changed. I have said something and that has provoked you. That is all that has happened. So you just stay with your direct experience, and then use all the curiosity that you have. Be curious to what is it that is actually happening? What is it that I think will happen if this is true? What is it I think won't happen if this is true? What is all the fear, anger, and delusion about? And keep remembering that there is no such thing. There is no such thing. It's only a label. It's only a label. Now is the time to let go of the fear, anger, guilt, and shame. And I don't mean bypass. I mean really, really understand that there is no such thing. There is no such thing. It's only a label. It's a label we put on when we feel a contraction in the body, and that calls out for us to do something. It was relevant for us when we were children to like I talked about in the third Fetter, that it was relevant for us to have that foundation and be met with that foundation. And you need to make sure that you're meeting yourself with that if there's any fear, anger, guilt, and shame, that you're looking into that, you're staying with it, you're having lots of compassion and love to that, and do that work, do the due diligence, meet the child where it is, be your loving mother and your protecting father. Make sure that all that is sorted out before you start with the pointers here, and where everything might be completely inflamed again. So what you do is you have pointer, you either use it in meditation where you repeat it over and over and you look into that contraction that you have. Twist and turn it like a Rubik's Cube. So you see it from lots of different angles and feel into what is it actually that is happening in your body when you hear this pointer. I also just want to say that make also sure that when you sit with it, when I say direct experience and you're making an inquiry about it, I'm not talking about you creating a thought circus. It's not about you creating more thoughts and thoughts and thoughts and thinking about it. I'm talking about feeling it. I'm talking about living it. So the pointers that I'm saying to you, you feel into the body. How is it in my body right now, in my direct experience? What are the hooks into this being true or not being true? What are the hooks into that? So it's not about you becoming super cerebral about it and thinking about it. If you start to do that, breathe, come back to your body. Stillness, simplicity, and contentment. Back to the body, back to the body. And if you get very provoked, go back to either the one about the bubble of reality or go back to the first Fetter and look into that. And speak with your guide and speak with Vince and come to the inquiry group, come to the Q&A. You're not alone in this. You're not alone at all. So the first pointer is 5 years from now, everything is exactly how it is now, and I'm completely on board with that. When you hear that, what happens? If you hear anything where you think, oh my God, I hope not. Oh my God, I hope not. I hope not that in 5 years it is like it is right now. I cannot manage if my life is like it is right now in 5 years. I do not want this. Breathe. Close your eyes and sit and breathe into that feeling. And then remember that whatever you think that you can't be with in 5 years, you don't have to be with it in 5 years. You just have to be with it now. It's only now. It's only this moment that you have to be with it. So if you had a feeling of super contracted fear going through you right away when you heard it, that in 5 years, all this fear is still here. This moment is still like this, and you feel that fear coming up in you. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Sit with the fear. Sit with the fear. You don't need to imagine how a life will be 5 years from now with fear. You don't need to do that. You only need to be with the fear right now. It's just right now. It's right here and right now. Sit with it. Just sit with it. And then allow the fear to be there. You can ask into a second Fetter thing. Where is this fear coming from? Well, it's my childhood, it's all the things, that I experienced in my childhood, is all of that. Then you know where you need to direct your attention and your awareness. And it's not about anything that needs to go away. The fear doesn't need to go away. The anger, guilt, and shame doesn't need to go away. The low self-worth and self-esteem doesn't need to go away. All you need to do is stay with it. And this is why this is not bypassing. Be very, very careful that you're not bypassing. I'm talking about living with that effortless okayness about it. About realizing that your life right now is contentment. And I'm not talking about, I'm so fearful, I'm content. That's bypassing. It's not what I'm talking about. If you bypass, there is still something underlying that needs your love and kindness and compassion and awareness. Make sure that you meet that. And if you have that, I don't want to be this, fearful 5 years from now. I don't want this much shame to be part of my life 5 years from now. Then ask yourself why. What's the matter with being shameful or feel guilty or angry or fearful? What's the matter with that? What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with it. You're the only judge that, is telling you that there's something wrong with it. There's not. It's just anger. It's just that happening. There's nothing more added to it. So just sit with that. Sit with that. Whatever you think is so big that you can't be with it, it's not that big. It's just now. Can you be in a body where the fear and guilt and shame is there? Can you be in a body where the low self-worth is there? Can you be with it right now? Just be with it. Right now. This moment. The other thing about it is that there is no 5 years from now. Time doesn't exist. That is what we're talking about more about in the 7th Fetter. But time doesn't exist. Time is a mental construct. And it's something that we believe is because we have a meat suit. As we talked about in the first Fetter, about the identification with thoughts, and if you believe that time exists and you still believe in that, back to the first Fetter and listen to all the lessons there, because I'm pointing at that all the time. That there is no such thing as time. There's only now. There's only now. Whatever we project into the future is just a mind concept. It's just a mind construct. Whatever we believed happened in the past, it didn't really happen. An experience happened. Something happened. You had an experience about it. You created thoughts and labels about it. And you then kept repeating the labels. So you don't even remember what actually happened. You just remember the labels about it. So all your memories are not even memories. It's not even real. It's why you have 2 completely different stories from siblings. So the past isn't real and the future isn't real. The only thing that's real is right now. 5 years from now doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. So sit with that one. 5 years from now, everything is exactly how it is now, and I'm completely on board with that. Sit with that. The second pointer. A fixation on another person or a thing is never about that person or that thing. So what is it about? And this one, it's a really, really good one. Again, I would like for you to sit with it. You might be fixated on a person. You might be fixated on Janice. Janice is always criticizing everybody in the office. Always criticizing everybody in the office. And you're fixated on Janice being different than Janice she is. Janice doesn't need to be any different. There's nothing wrong with Janice. Not at all. You have the issue. The issue is in you. Whenever you think that there's something outside of you that needs to be different than it is, then there's something to look at. There's nothing outside of you. There's only inside. It's the only place there is. There's nothing else that exists than inside. So whatever you think of Janice when she's criticizing, look how you're criticizing Janice. You're fixating on her criticizing by criticizing her. Look at that. Look at how you criticize you. Look at how you criticize other people. Look at your issue with control. And when I say look at, I want you not to make a mental formation about it or go into your mind and think about it. I would like for you to get back to right now, in your body right now. Janice is saying something that you hear as criticism. You're aware that the ears are sitting on you. If you have tears in your ears, there's something in the second fetter you need to go back and sort out. But that criticism that you hear that she's saying, why does it bother you that she's criticizing? Can't Janice say whatever she wants to say? That's got nothing to do with you. Even if she's pointing fingers at you and saying you are, and she's criticizing you, that can still not have anything to do with you. It can only be about her. So why are you picking up on it? Why are you making it into a big deal? Why are you and I right now sitting and talking about Janice? You know, there's nothing outside of you. There's only inside. So look into your issue about criticism. What is it that you don't like with being criticized? What is it that you believe is true in what Janice is saying? Is it true? Is she true? Is it true what she's saying? Is she right? Do you need to not put your cup in the sink, but put it in the dishwasher? Is it true? Are you a slob? Is it true? Look into that. She might be right, you know? What we use other people's opinions about, whenever another person has an opinion about something, let's say Janice is criticizing you, you can use everything Janice say as an inside exploration. So you look into, is there anything true in this? Is there anything useful in what she says in me? Is there anything that I could look into? And it's not about the words she's using. It's about how it feels in you. What is hit in you by what she says? What is it that you think needs to be improved by what she says? Look into that. It really sounds like a second Fetter stuff. So look into what it is you think is true in what she says. It's the same thing. I just want to point out that when we say a fixation about another person, that is whenever you want other people to act differently than they actually do. That's a fixation on another person. It's you believing that you have any influence and are put on the planet actually to sort Janice out. You're not. The other thing is, when you are fixated on a thing, that can be weight loss, for example. If you're fixated on weight loss, what is that actually about? Because it's not about the weight loss. Remember what I'm always saying, that, the problem is actually the solution. So the overweight is actually the solution to something. So what is it you're trying to sort out? What is it that you're protecting yourself against? What is it that is that just a part, the weight loss thing? Is that just a part of all the other things that you think needs to be different about you, that needs to change so you can become a better person? What is it actually pointing at when you want to lose weight? Because it's not about the weight, and it's not about the fat, and it's not about your relationship to gravity at all. It's about something completely different. So look into that moment right now. Feel into, what is it? If, like the question, the pointer we just had, if I'm this weight 5 years from now, I'm completely okay with that. If not, look into why. What is it that you attach to that weight that you have now that is not okay? What is it? What is it really about? Because it's not about the weight. What is it really about? What is it about you that you think needs to be different? And where does that voice come from? Who is it that is pointing that you need to be different? The thought that you have about it, and that is telling you the thinker that is telling you all the time that you need to be different. Who is that? Who is that? And who is that voice talking to? Who is that? So, a fixation on another person or thing is never about that person or that thing. So what is it about? The third pointer. What is it that I think can be improved, and can it? So this pointer is pointing a bit in the same direction as what we just talked about. It is making it more clear to you that what is it actually that you're trying to divert from? What is it that you're trying to divert your attention from? So for example, you have an idea that, what is it I think that can be improved? I would like a degree. Okay, why would you like a degree? I hate my job. And I think if I get a degree, then I don't need to be in a job I hate. Then I can get another job and my life will be so much better. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? The issues that you have at your job might be that you are not putting any boundaries, or you're not saying what you want, or you're not part of the team, or you are being bullied, or there can be so many different things. If you believe that a degree will change that, then you're delusional. It won't. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't get a degree. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you should look into what you think can be better. And that is every time you use the word because. I think this can be better because. That indicates that there's something in the I am not, I should be. There's something about you that needs to be different than who you are. That is not possible. That is not possible. Things are as they are right now. No degree is going to change that. Whatever is going on right now is going on because of an underlying belief. There's something underneath that you believe is true, and that is why things are happening as they are. So if you believe that anything can be different, then take this to the cushion, close your eyes, and sit with the feeling that this degree needs to make my life better. I need this degree for my life to be better. Look into that craving, to that grasping. It is only a diversion. There's something right now in this moment, not in the future, but right now in this moment that needs your awareness, that needs your kindness, and needs your love. This moment right now, it's only contentment. It's the only thing that is here. So, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a degree. I'm not saying that. But getting a degree because of something, that needs to be looked into. That you need to be curious about. That you need to be curious about. Is that removing us from what is alive in us right now? And we only do that because we believe that there's an advantage with doing that. There's something we're diverting from, something we're protecting or deflecting from that needs our attention. Look into what that is. The fourth pointer. What I want or what I don't want, it's not about what I think it is about. So what is it about? This one is pointing at something outside of you that you believe can improve what is right now. Obviously it can't. There's nothing outside of you. There's only here. There's only here right now. So when you have a want or a don't want, you're giving away your power to that thing. You believe that that thing is going to complete you. It's going to make you better, make you happier, make you more content. And by doing that, you are diverting your attention into something outside of you. There is nothing outside of you. There's only this moment right now with what is here right now. It's the only thing that is here. So get your attention back to this moment right now and then feel into that power that is in being in this moment right now. That thing that you really, really want or don't want, what is it about? What is it really about? What is it you're trying to divert your attention away from? There's something going on here. There's a contraction somewhere that needs you to sit with it. And it might be a feeling of low self-worth, anger, fear, guilt, shame. It might be any of those old goodies. Then sit with it. Keep sitting with it, staying with it. And feel into that contraction that you have when you make it alive in you, when you think about it and you make it alive with you. Stay with that and make it bigger so you can really feel how it is contracting in your body. And then detach thought from it and just sit with the sensation. That sensation that you have, how does it feel? Is it in your tummy, in your knee, in your back? Where is it? And as soon as you notice where it is and you keep detaching the thought about it, but you just stay here right now, you will feel that it's not constant. It is changing all the time. There's nothing that's constant. And that contraction that you feel, it's going to start to dissolve. And it's going to be a contraction somewhere else. It might then give you another visual picture, or it might give you a thought, and might give you anything that is pointing at something more that is wrong, something more that needs to be different, then you just stay with that, stay with that, stay with that. Allow whatever is to be there. Do not try to push it away or get rid of it. Just allow it. It can't do anything. It's just there. And most of it just needs to be held, just need to be met with love and compassion and kindness. So do that. Just stay with that. And know that there's nothing outside of you. There's no point in you giving away your power. There's no point in that. You have it right here. All the solutions are right here. The fifth pointer. What belief is creating the want or the don't want? And who is creating the want and the don't want? And this one, because of the second part of the question, this is so easy to bypass. What is creating the want or the don't want? Not sure. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. Who is creating? There's no one. There's no one. Next question. That's bypassing. I just had a Q&A, and I just want to say thank you for everybody that was at the Q&A. I love it so much. I love it so much. It is so enjoyable. I love all the questions you give me. I love the vulnerability. I love that open exchange that we have. I love it so much. Thank you so much for that. It's so enjoyable having you as members and being in this contact that we are. I love it so much. So thank you for that. At the Q&A, some of you talked about that it's really difficult to get in contact with what you want. You know what you don't want, but you have no idea what you want. What I would like for you to do is get a notebook and then write down all the things that you don't want. Start there. All the things that you don't want, write all of it down. What you want is the opposite. So if you don't want Janice to be critical in the office, you want Janice to compliment people, or you want Janice to not, interfere with other people. So it's always the opposite. If you don't want the weight that you have, you want to be skinnier. So what you want is the opposite. What you want or what you don't want. It's important in the sense that it's always pointing at something. There's always something in you that you believe shouldn't be as it is. There's something that needs to be different. And what you want or you don't want, that bears a promise. It holds a promise about this is going to change. So what you want or you don't want is pointing at something. And what it's pointing at is what needs your awareness. It's what needs your compassion and your kindness and your love. And you get to that by sitting with that contraction. So when you ask yourself the question, what belief is creating the want or the don't want? The belief is that I am not okay as I am. I can be when I get my degree, or I don't want Janice to be as she is. Everything in the office would be great if Janice is not here. So that underlying belief where you put yourself in the driver's seat of everyone, the entire world. People shouldn't park like that. You can't buy that much milk. You need to leave some for others. You can't speak to your husband like that. You can't wear socks like that. All the things that you think that you know and that you have any influence in what other people are doing, all the things outside of you, you believe that you have any influence in that. You don't. You don't. But all that you're pointing fingers at is only a diversion. And here's the key. Whatever you say or think about other people, it's pointing at you. It's pointing at you. And it's one of the things that when you really understand this, then you also know you can never ever open your mouth. Because as soon as you open your mouth, you give an insight to how you view how you view your life, what you actually believe about you. Because you don't believe anything about other people. You don't have no opinion about other people. All that is not real. It's only here. It's only here. And your opinion and your judgment and all of that, it's not about them, ever. It's only about you. So you are judging you. You are living a life where you are controlled in horrible, horrible ways instead of just allowing you to be who you are. And that leads us to the next part of the question. Who is creating the want or the don't want? And instead of just bypassing and saying there is no I, really sit with it. When you have that craving for something, or when you have the want for something, or you have the don't want for something, really sit with it and be curious. Follow it. You feel a contraction here. Okay, is there any connection between this contraction here and what is happening outside of me? Is there really any connection at all? Of course there's not. You can't see the connection anywhere because it isn't there. So when you then look further in and ask, who is it that is telling me, who is it that has these thoughts that is telling me that I need to be different, or that would be better, or that shouldn't be like that? Who is that voice? Who is actually doing that? It's the thinker that does that, but the thinker is just a thought. So when you remove the thought, what happens to a thought when you don't think it? It's removed. It's not there anymore. It's not alive anymore. And everything you're left with is just a contraction in the body that you're trying to divert from. Every single diversion you do is because of a contraction you don't want. So there's a contraction in the body, there's a push-pull in the body, something you want or you don't want. That is what you're trying to get away with. And that is why you project it out on something outside. So that I can chase, because then I don't have to look at this. Then I don't have to go into this. I can let this be. As long as Janice is different, I don't need to look at myself. So Janice needs to be different. Don't give your power away. Stay with it right in here. Follow the contraction and sit with the contraction. Can you be in a body where there's such severe contraction? Just breathe into it. What happens when you just sit with it? When you just allow it to be? It dissolves. It dissolves. And you will find out that what you have spent 40 years trying to avoid, it wasn't actually that bad. It was just about a contraction, and you added a lot of post-its to that contraction. It's not real. It's just a contraction. So obviously, I'm pointing towards that foundational understanding that there is no craving. There is no ill will. There is no fear, guilt, and shame. There's no low self-worth. None of that exists. All that only exists as a thought. And when you release the thought, you are left with a contraction that the thought was attached to. And that contraction you can sit with. That contraction you can be with. And just allow it to be there. So, if you think that the first pointers that we have been through were difficult to look at, the pointers we're going into now are really, really difficult to look at. So the 6th pointer. What I want or don't want is a false limitation created by the lack of knowing. This pointing is pointing to the 10th fetter. It's pointing to the not knowing. It's pointing to the limit you put on yourself when you think there's something you want or you don't want. You are limiting yourself from what actually is right now. And it's because everything you want or don't want, it is created out of your own little bubble of reality. It's created out of everything that you already know, but it's only that. It's only that. It can't be anything more than that. Which means that whenever you have a 4th or 5th, whenever you have a want or a don't want, you're making your life so small. You're creating a smaller and smaller and smaller world because you believe that these are the things I can choose between. These are the things I want, or these are the things I don't want. Everything is so much bigger. It's where you are looking at the thing instead of looking between the things. So everything you look at is created by what you already know. And that is very, very limiting. It's very, very limiting. So you can choose that whenever you feel a want or don't want, that you breathe and you look into what is this actually about? What is it right now that I'm limiting myself with? What is it right now that I believe is really, really important? Obviously, it's not. Obviously, it's not. If you, in the moment that Janice, she's criticizing, let's say, you think right then that she should just be quiet, not say anything, she should just be quiet. In that moment, you are at the smallest point as can be because you believe this to be important. It's not. In the greater scheme of things, it's not. 10 years of now, you won't even remember the conversation. Maybe even a week from now, you won't even remember this conversation that you're having with Janice. If you see things too close up, then you need to pull yourself up to the 5th floor. Remember we talked about that when you are in the maze, you can't find your way out of a maze. You need to pull yourself up to the 5th floor where you have the overview. And if it's not enough to pull yourself up, you're standing and Janice is criticizing you and you can't pull yourself up to the 5th floor, then pull yourself higher up, beyond the building, up beyond the little town you are in, up beyond the continent you're in, up beyond the part of the world you're in, up beyond, into the universe, up beyond the little globe that we're living on. Are you far away now so you really can see that you're limiting yourself? Do you see how limiting it is? When you have like sitting with the universe in your back and the globe is just like this small, do you see how much you're limiting yourself with what you want and you don't want? Of all the possibilities that you do not know exist, you're fixated on that? Seriously? Of all the possibilities that could happen in the moment and is happening in this moment right now, you're fixated on that little thing over there. Instead of just sitting here in this abundant beauty that you're part of and just looking at that and just being with that stillness, simplicity, and contentment. So whenever you have a want or don't want, you're limiting yourself. You're limiting yourself. It's so much bigger. Everything is so much bigger. The 7th pointer. Everything around the contracted sensation in the body is still and content. And this one, it's really, really a good exercise to do. I would like for you to close your eyes now and just sit and feel your body. Make a deep breath. Exhale. And feel how you're falling into gravity. And now I want you to focus on your body. If you focus on your feet, do you feel that there's not any feet anywhere? If you're not looking at them, you don't know that you have feet. You can feel a contraction or a buzzing sensation, tingling sensation somewhere that you might say, that is in the direction where my feet are. Then feel into the body. Do you feel your bum in the seat? Do you feel that you can't really say what is bum and what is seat? It's just more a sensation in the bum. And it's like that with your entire body. Whatever you feel in the body right now, it's just a sensation. Now I would like for you to look at the space between the sensations. So you feel a sensation in the body, a contraction in the body. I would like for you to feel into the space between the sensation. And this might be an exercise that you need to do a couple of times before you can feel it. But no matter where you have pain in your body right now, that is a contraction. No matter where you have anything in the body that you don't want, there's a space between the sensation of the pain or the things that you don't want. If you focus on that space, do you feel how still it is? And how much contentment is there? Good. Take a deep breath. Open your eyes and shake your body. So everything around the sensations in the body is still and content. Do this exercise as many times as you need to. And you can do it with open eyes. You can do it wherever you are. Do it before you fall asleep and just before you wake up. The 8th pointer is one of those that can be super, super, super provoking. So tighten your suspenders. Even if never, and even if always, it's okay. Now, this one, it's a big one. If you know anything about Buddhism and you know about the 37 practices of the Bodhisattva, then from the 12th practice, they start the even ifs. And the even ifs are, even if people are talking about me behind my back, it's okay. Even if Janice is criticizing me always, it's okay. Even if my house burns down, it's okay. Even if I never get what I want, it's okay. Even if I always, I can't even think of something, something that you don't want, it's okay. The even ifs is putting things into perspective. It's only your mind that think that you have the choice. What is happening is happening. You can't argue with reality. So even if this is reality right now, it's okay, because it's reality. It is as it is. There's nothing you can do about this moment. This moment is as it is. And if you have issues with the even ifs, then see if you can create sentences that you can use. There's a really good sequence in the Dhammapada that I like, where it's something like, he beat me, he robbed me, he defeated me. People who think like that are suffering. He beat me, he robbed me, he defeated me. People who don't think like that are not suffering. That is pointing to the even ifs. Even if he hurt me, it's okay. It's okay. It's outside of me. What is inside of me is something that I can stay with, something I can be with. So if people are talking behind your back, do you feel that that is okay? They are allowed to do that. They can do that as much as they want. It's completely fine. You're setting them free not to like you. Even if Janice is criticizing you, do you see it's okay? She's allowed to criticize as much as you want. It's got nothing to do with you. It's completely fine. See if you can make some more sentences that might be super, super provoking, and feel free to write them in the comment section. I would love to hear them. Even if, la 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 la, never, la 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 la, always, it's okay. And then also write sentences that you can't deal with. Write it in the comment section, because I'm sure that your sentence is going to provoke somebody. And looking into that there's nothing outside of you. There is only this. This is all there is. And whatever you attach to what is happening, that needs your awareness and your attention. And that is what you do with the inquiry. That is where you look into the contraction that you feel in your body, and you look into, what is this pointing at? What is it that I want in a certain way or don't want in a certain way? What is it pointing at? Can I be in a body where this is the case? Am I okay with me as I am, with the moment as it is? Can I be in a body where this is reality? And you can't argue with reality. It is as it is. So even if It's okay. It's okay. The ninth pointer is that whatever tool is used for insight, it's just a tool and needs to be left. And it's one of my favorite pointers from the suttas in Buddhism. It's that you use a raft to get to the other side of the shore. So you are at one side, you use a raft to sail over the river and get to the other side. You don't carry around with the raft when you get to the other side. You let it go. You leave it. And then you move on. And it's the same with every single insight that you get. Every single pointer that we're giving you here. Use them for insight. And as soon as you have had an insight, then leave it. Leave it and move on. And the reason why this is important is that if you don't, then it becomes a belief. There is nothing in the awakening curriculum that is making you believe something. Nothing. If you start to latch onto something as a belief, I am a passive-aggressive bully, or I am a chameleon, or I am full of fear, anger, guilt, and shame. I am full of that. That is a belief. There's no labels. There is no bully. There is no chameleon. There is no fear, anger, guilt, and shame. None of that doesn't exist. It's only a raft to get you across. It's only a tool for you to get inside. The moment you have gained the insight, you leave it. You don't need to work with it anymore. You don't need to look at it anymore. You don't need to carry it around, making it into your personality. Then it just becomes another belief. You can't do that. It needs to be left. There's nothing in the awakening curriculum that you can use to anything but a tool. It's just a tool. And the moment you have had the insight, you leave it. You leave it. Now, the last pointer, I'm not going to explain it. The last pointer is the one that is making sure that you stay here until you understand it. So I'm not going to give you any pointers. I'm not going to tell you the solution. I'm not going to give you any indication to what it is I'm meaning with it. And if you understand it, if you understand the sentence that I'm saying, if you completely clearly see what it is I'm pointing at, then please don't give any spoilers. If you're a guide, or if somebody comes to your group or anything like that, and they ask about the 10th pointer, don't give any spoilers. Remember how it was for you to be in that period where you were so frustrated. Remember how beneficial that was. Remember all the things that you realized because you were so frustrated. It's good to be frustrated because it gives you something to look at. So, this is the 10th pointer. I am always wrong. They are always right. I am always wrong. They are always right. No matter what argument you get into from now on, repeat this. I'm wrong, they're right. Whatever Janice is saying, repeat this. I'm wrong, she's right. And if you feel a contraction by me saying it, if you have that no, sit with it. Sit with it. I would recommend you to look at some of the other pointers first, because this pointer is obvious. When you have worked with all the other pointers, this one is obvious. This one is dissolving itself. So work with the other pointers. Go back to work with the second fetter. Go back to the first fetter if you need to hear about thoughts again. And really look into the bubble of reality, the fourth lesson in the second fetter. And if I say I'm always wrong, they are always right, and you sit and laughing out loud right now, remember, please don't give any spoilers to the ones that haven't understood it yet. Let them be in the frustration. It's okay to be frustrated. It's great to be frustrated. It gives you something to work with. look, and if you're sitting and super, super frustrated right now, you feel that this is going to the end and you're like, no, we cannot stop now. Then just feel into that contraction in the body. Feel into the contraction. What is happening right now? There are so many pointers in you right now. Write it down. Write it down. Make notes. Look at everything you write down, and then go through the other pointers and see if there are any of them that can help you with dissolving it. When you hear this one, the 10th pointer, I'm always wrong, they're always right. When you hear that and you really, really get it, you are laughing because it's so, so obvious. Yep, I think that was it. Todd and I, we talked about doing a sofa set where we talk about these 10 pointers. And that is going to help you get a level deeper into the pointers, so you've got something to work with about your wants. And that is then going to be the last lesson in the 4th Fetter. At least for now. I might change it in the future and make more lessons, but that at least it is for now. Remember that there are Q&A every other week. All you have to do is be a member, and then you have the link and you can join. Remember that there is the inquiry group every other week. Write to Todd at unfetteredmindfulness@gmail.com, and so you get the link so you can join. Join Vince for his group that is on every Sunday, every single Sunday. Vince is there. And his groups are amazing at looking into all the 3 foundational fetters, everything from the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd fetter. And there are so many guides that are there that can help you take all this there. But be sure that if you come and ask him about the 10th pointer, I am always wrong, they are always right, he's just gonna laugh. He's not gonna tell you. I'm sure about that. Yeah, I think that was it. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for looking into all this. It's really, really, truly amazing working with you. I really enjoy it. And if you have any questions, please come to the Q&A and we can talk about it there. I wish you and yours all the best. Thank you.